hear
Marty
me?
Duda, baby. What's up?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
All right, where the hell are you?
I'm in Auckland, New Zealand.
No, you're not. Don't
I,
lie.
I am indeed. It's
Oh,
Halloween here already. We're ahead of you.
you sound like you're from, where are you from, though, originally?
Pennsylvania.
Get the fuck out of here. You're kidding me.
Springboro, Pennsylvania, up in the northwest corner.
Damn. That's some eerie kind of shit, right?
Erie, indeed. I like that. Yes, very close to Erie.
Wow, you got some vinyl back there, my pal.
Well, we do what we can.
Woo!
So what's happening in Philly?
I mean, it's a fucking mess. What do you want me to say, Marty?
Yeah.
You're doing a lot better than we are, god damn it. I bet you're glad you moved to fucking New Zealand during this shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I moved here in 94 with the wife and the kids are now adults, and they thank me like every day for it.
God damn, I want to move in with you and your kids.
There's plenty of room.
Damn. I'll just like alphabetize your records for you and be your general assistant if you just let me come to your country where shit maybe makes sense. Because shit
Yeah,
does not make sense here right now.
I hear you. Man, it's got to be rough. So what's is like everybody just like on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen?
Oh, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
The whole world. It's 900 crises on top of each other. We're also freaked out about Tuesday, and
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
I'm seeing things happen here in the city, in around the country I never thought I'd see, but we have to get activated and work it out. We've got to get involved. You can't just sit back and watch. You got to get involved and shake it up. You know?
I'm afraid you are correct. Shaking, it needs a big shake, but we'll see what happens.
It needs a fucking etch-a-sketch.
Yes, indeed. I love it. And in the middle of all this, you put out this double album.
I did, yeah. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't. I did. Actually, I have one sitting here right now. This is a CD, but the vinyl package is beautiful, but it wouldn't fit in the frame here.
Fair enough. Well, it's good that it's on vinyl though, because I'm kind of partial to that format. So yeah, that's all cool. So what it's been out for a little while. So what has the reaction been?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Come on, Marty. Universal acclaim.
I saw that, but I wanted you to tell me.
Listen, it has been a beautiful couple weeks in terms of the response to the record. I didn't expect it to be as well received as it has been, but as great as the press has been, both in the U.S. and internationally, and as great as it is to be on the charts, the radio charts, pretty prominently for the first time in my career.
Yep.
The most important thing, Marty, is that my fans, they adore the album.
Yeah.
And we've had people, very emotional responses from people. We've been just getting so many incredible messages from people all over the world that have been loving the band. And we've been a cult act for so many years, and people have been screaming from the rooftops about me and the band.
Yep.
And it's kind of nice when, it starts to spread beyond a cult thing, and we start to get played on commercial radio, which we just started to get played on commercial radio in the US. And it's been a beautiful couple weeks.
Yeah. So what do you think what made that happen? Was it the music? Is it just the vibe? What's going on around the country? What's happening?
I think there's a couple reasons. Yeah, there's a couple reasons. One, I just refuse to go away, Marty. If it takes me, well, I got my foot in the door about 9 years ago when Low Cut Connie started, and I was able to, get a little bit of notice for that first album in 2011.
Right.
And we had some acclaim. We didn't have a ton of fans, but the fans we had were kind of obsessed. And I said, I don't care if this takes me 15 years or 20 years, I'm going to make this happen. And so I have never stopped for 1 second. I've never taken my foot off the gas pedal. We never did get signed to a label, never got signed to a label in the US or internationally, although this release, Private Lives, the one label I've ever worked with is a label in Germany that's doing a nice job for us in Europe. But
Cool.
in the US, I've never been on a label. I had to learn to run my own label. I had to learn how to book the band. I had to learn how to be the publicist. I had to learn how to do everything. And brick by brick by brick by brick by brick for 9 years, I just refused to go away. And so we really just put out one good record after another and did one great show after another. And so after a while, I think people in the industry just sort of gave up.
Right.
But more importantly, though, my friend, the reason I think it's really spread right now, as opposed to the last record or whatever, is, you know, the entire entertainment business like collapsed this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, we lost the entire like live music industry. And I very quickly turned into doing this live stream series called Tough Cookies.
Right. I watched, what was it, episode number 56 just now, I think.
Okay. Well, that was last Saturday's show. And, you know, we're up to 57 hours of this, and we have people in over 40 countries watching. People are sitting at home.
Right.
Or sitting at work or in hospitals or wherever they are, and they're watching all together live on Saturdays. And the quarantine has created a situation where nobody can go out to live music in clubs or theaters or whatever. But because I strive to create the feeling of a live music show, a feeling of a club show,
right,
from your home, I was able to get some notice for that, and the word has spread on this live stream series, and we've gained a lot of fans.
Cool.
And these people have spread the word about the record too, so I think that's what the timing is all about.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I mean, I watched, like I said, I loved your version of Strokin', the Clarence Carter.
I'm stroking. Of course you like that shit.
Because I used to have a record label back in the States, and it was distributed by Ichiban, which I believe is a label that Clarence was on. So, and as a matter of fact, just to make it even more, I did an album with Philadelphia's one of the greatest musicians to come out, my man Bill Doggett here.
Wow,
So
another great keys guy.
Yeah, yep. So we did that together. So yeah. But he wasn't doing stroking.
Not in front of people anyway.
Hey, I hope not. No. So, and you've got a Patreon thing going on with that, right? So is it earning you a little bread?
Yeah, we're definitely keeping the lights on. It's been nice. We've got 400 to 500 subscribers who tune in during the week. See, I do the Saturday show free on social media, and people tune in from all over the world for free.
Right.
And then during the week on Thursdays, I do special broadcasts for my members. And that could be anything from a private show to full-length interviews with celebrities or interesting people. I've had Dion, I've had Darlene Love, I spoke to Beyonce's father a couple weeks ago about her early career. Next week, I have Colin Hay from Men at Work.
Right.
And, you know,
I see you had this up on your piano.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm paying attention.
I showed that to D. I showed that to Papa D. And he was impressed because I'm a lot younger than him. Yeah. And you know what? Right away. He saw that record and he went like this. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm especially proud though of my conversation with Bobby Rush. That's my favorite interview I've done. Bobby Rush is 86.
Right.
And we got really deep on his career and all of the racism that he encountered all the way going back to the 40s. His career started in the 40s. He was a teenager. And we talked about Jim Crow South. We talked about a situation when he got to Chicago in the early 50s and was playing on the South Side and what it was like to be a black man in Chicago in the early 50s. And now here he is at 86, and he won a Grammy for the first time last year, and he's still kicking. And we had an amazing conversation. So I use those shows to kind of get deep with some of the people I admire in the industry and talk about things in the industry that they don't usually get to talk about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some amazing stories that those old guys can talk about the South in the 40s and 50s. I've done a few of those interviews myself, and it's just like, you can't believe that they actually lived through that stuff.
Well, you know, when I talked to Dion about touring with Sam Cooke in 1961 in the Jim Crow South, and he talked about how they couldn't stay in the same hotel and you know, everything. And he actually wrote a song about it on his new record. And I spoke to Darlene Love about her, you know, she was in the Blossoms, who backed up every Phil Spector artist, but they never put the picture of the artists, the black artists, on the sleeve.
Yep.
She talked about that, and about when she
Motown was notorious for that. Like, if you see the picture sleeve of Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes, it's just like a sketch of a mailbox.
Mailbox, yes. Well, she went on television in 1964 or 5 backing up Marvin Gaye and on the Tammy Show, and she spoke about how they only had one shade of makeup for all the women who were going to appear on this show, and it was basically an effort to lighten the skin. And so we had a deep conversation about all this, and
I bet,
so you know, I consider what I do with Tough Cookies to be a variety show. It's rock and roll, soul music. We get crazy. It's comedy. We strip. We talk about issues, though. We don't hide and put our head in the sand about what's going on in the world, past and present.
Fair enough. Yep. Now, we should talk about the record a little bit. And part of the reason I'm wearing this glittery thing is it's Halloween, and B, I was inspired by your gold lame jacket that you're wearing on your Private Lives video.
Yeah, you look very fly, my friend.
Life is strange and you do what you gotta do just to survive. You got your hustle and you gotta know that, baby, I got mine. Wanna make you cry. If you knew about the things that you could let slide, or you're scared to lie, 'cause you know that I'm edging it on the slide.
Now, one of the other songs I wanted to talk about was "Look What They Did," and the video for that, which is kind of piano ballad, and it's very kind of timely. And there's a guy named Alex Wobleski, is it?
Wobleski.
Yeah, Wobleski. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about how that video came about.
Tough shit for the little guy living like a chump with his back to the wall. You wanna scream in the face, it makes no difference at all.
Yeah,
Universal.
well, the song came about, I spent a lot of, pretty much every summer of my life in Atlantic City.
Right.
And so, when I was really, really little, probably even before I was born, Bruce Springsteen put out this Nebraska album, and he wrote a song called Atlantic City.
He did.
And he was talking about the construction of these casinos in Atlantic City and how it would change and was changing the city. One of the people that constructed those casinos is our current president. And so I just thought, it kind of happened by accident, but I wrote this sort of little character study that was sort of like, where are we at in Atlantic City 40 years later? And I knew that I wanted to make a video. My friend Alex is a photojournalist from Washington, D.C., who photographs at the White House, Congress, the Supreme Court, for the Associated Press. And he reached out to me, said, I'm a fan and I'd like to do a project with you. And I said, I have the perfect piece for you, but I said, it might jeopardize your White House credentials. And he said, I'm down, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took him to Atlantic City for 2 days, and I gave him a tour of Atlantic City. This was before the quarantine, because we put the video out in February, so it was over
Right.
the winter.
Yep.
And they were just in the process of starting. They were just arguing over whether they should tear down the Trump Plaza, which has been abandoned for about 5 or 6 years. So we shot this video there in a day, and it's just a photojournalistic snapshot of what life is like in Atlantic City today.
Mm.
They always gave us a hard time, and baby, you know we did the best that we could. But when you look at what it did to the children, baby, you know it doesn't sit with me good. But when you look at what it did to the children, baby, you know it doesn't sit with me good.
And speaking of Atlantic City and Springsteen, you get compared often with Bruce. How do you feel about that?
Well, listen, I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s, so do the math.
It's either that or Bon Jovi, I guess, right?
Bruce has been very kind and supportive of the band. I got to meet him
2
years ago, and he's a fan, and obviously I'm a fan, so I love getting compared to one of my heroes.
Have you heard his new album?
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah, it's really good. I was very impressed with it. So yeah. Now another track maybe we can talk about, Now You Know, which and it kind of runs into Run to Me Darling, I think, and there was like a beatly chord that kind of tied them together. It caught my ear. So is that stuff that you work out and think about, or does it just happen and magic?
Well, this record was a mess. It's really a record that was created by assembling and editing this huge pile of songs that I created over 3 years. About 3 times as many as made it on the album. So kind of like the White Album, or Songs in the Key of Life, or Outkast Stankonia, or Sign of the Times, which is one of my favorite albums. It's one of these records where it was such a mess, and it ended up being a thing where I had to sort of create it in the editing process.
Gotcha.
And so if you liked it, I'll take credit for it. If you didn't like it, I didn't do it. It's not my fault.
So I read that there's quite a few people on the record playing with you, but when you're in that process, are you kind of on your own in front of the computer with a mouse in your hand, just doing it yourself, or are you working with other people?
We record on tape.
Oh, there you go.
So there are razor blades involved. Using tape. You draw your own conclusions. We worked in about 6 or 7 different studios because I was traveling with the band so much, both the band and my solo concerts, and I just we kept the tapes and the hard drives with us and just jumped from studio to studio. And then last year I just had to sit down and deal with the mess.
Right.
I don't touch a mouse though. That's not my.
Gotcha.
That's not me. I'm a piano player. I'm a singer. I don't like having the screen in the room with me.
Gotcha. Oh, somebody else that you were talking about that I was pulling records from was Sylvester.
Woo! You make me feel Marty.
What did he do for you?
Won't you tell me now? Do you want to funk? Let me show you how. Do you want to funk with me? Sylvester's the king of this falsetto. I've been working on it. I actually played Sylvester on our Tough Cookie show a couple weeks ago, so I had to get into that.
Yeah.
You make me feel. Had to get up there, you know.
So, normally you would be, I assume, performing in front of people, but instead you're having to do the Tough Cookies thing. So when you do perform in front of live, what is the live thing like? Do you have other people playing with you? There is a band? Is there? I'm lost, you know.
This is what I love about doing interviews this year, because I'm doing interviews with beautiful people like you who have watched Tough Cookies and enjoyed it and don't know what it is to see a Low Cut Connie show with the band.
This is fact.
And that is so funny to me because I've been touring with the band now for 8-9 years.
Right.
And we kind of like got a reputation for our live show.
I'm sure you do.
It's pretty, you know,
but
pretty
to
good.
be fair, you haven't come here.
No, but I love that I get to just be the first one to describe it to you. It's, you know, like we did this tour last year with Big Frida, and we had a 7-piece group.
Ooh.
And, you know, piano, 2 guitars, bass, drums, 2 dancers, singers.
Right.
It's black, white, gay, straight, and everything in between. And it's a wild show. It's rock and roll, it's soul, it's R&B, it's all of the above and none of the above. I can't wait to come down there and do it.
I can't wait to see it. But you say get black, white, gay, straight. That seems to be where everything's going these days. Something has happened, I feel. I don't know if I mean where they're all coming together where it used to be one or the other and never the two should meet, or 4.
Well, it's going back to, you know, Little Richard is one of my biggest heroes, right?
Sure.
And he really shook up the world. And of course, you know, we call what he did rock and roll. Yeah. But at the same time, he was recording music before the words rock and roll were out there.
Yep.
He would have just called what he was doing rhythm and blues, R&B, or the word. I ask a lot of my guests about the phrase soul music, and a lot of them, even, you know, renowned soul singers and producers, they said we never heard that word until we were already 5 or 6 years into our career.
Yeah.
So genre words, as you know, as salacious and tempting it is to use them, they're also very limiting.
Yeah.
Little Richard was just like Prince, was kind of everything all at once, right?
Yep.
And it was music on white radio stations, black radio stations. You know, he had his gay following, he had his religious following, he had it all. And that's what we try to do with Low Cut Connie, is just try to put something out there in the world that everybody can get into.
So if folks haven't heard of you before and they're learning about you with this album, what's the best entry point, do you think?
In terms of a song?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'd say they should start with this record, Private Lives, and just start with track 1, Private Lives.
Right.
Which is sort of like a, you know, a theme song for the album. And the video, which inspired you to wear your glittery jacket.
There you go.
It's all shot here in Philadelphia, around where I live, and some of my friends. So it'll give them a good snapshot of what we're all about.
Okay, all right. And the following track, Help Me, since it is Halloween here, you mentioned Wolfman. So, and there's a video for that as well. So,
baby, help me to be a good man. Baby, help me to be kind. 'Cause I'm moving in the wrong direction. I got bad things on my mind, and I'm hanging like a scarecrow, with all my insides falling out, like a wolfman, like an alien, like the people you don't have.
You know, we're on the charts with that song now.
oh, great.
I mean, you know, like, we're in the top 20 on the AAA charts in America with Taylor Swift and Bruce and Fleet Foxes. And that sounds, you know, somewhat impressive. But remember, we don't have a label.
Right.
We're doing this all with blood, sweat, and tears. We're doing this all with elbow grease. So for us to crack into the top 20 is pretty cool. And now we're starting to get played on commercial rock and roll stations. So that's cool. And it's Help Me. It's that song is the single that everybody sort of really responded to.
Lift me up, lift me up, lift me up to the sun. One time, lift me up, lift me up. Let me be the chosen one before I come undone.
So are you doing like Spotify and things like that? Or are you up there?
Of course,
Okay, just checking.
of course.
Well, you said you're just using tape, so I thought the digital thing might have extended to that as well.
We're everywhere, baby.
Okay.
We're everywhere all at once. We're on
Yeah.
Spotify and Apple and Amazon and all the places that the kids are these days. See, here's the thing, Marty.
Yep.
We have a weird fan base because we're one of the few acts that kids and parents, they both like the same thing.
Right.
But you understand, we have a lot of kids in their teens and 20s who like the band. And then we have a lot of oldsters like who love rock and roll back in the day, and they think what we do is sort of classic rock and roll.
Right.
And so we got them both. So I really like that. You know, people come to our shows sometimes with 2 or 3 generations.
That's gonna be cool.
It's like the Waltons, man.
I love it. Like the Waltons. So what's next? I mean, are you working on new music, or are you writing stuff?
Absolutely. It doesn't stop. As long as I'm here on this planet, it won't stop. I do my 2 Tough Cookie shows a week. All your viewers and listeners can tune in any Saturday.
Right.
And you can rewatch them. Low Cut Connie, all of our social media accounts, but we have our Patreon where we archive 57 hours of these shows.
Right. So it's Saturday here, so it'll be Sunday tomorrow when the new one comes on. What have you got planned? Because we'll put this up right away.
Well, we are doing for Halloween. For Halloween, we're doing this crazy Halloween dance party situation.
All right.
And we're doing a little bit of chic. We're doing a little bit of the fuck are we doing? We're doing we're doing a Whitney Houston song. We're doing Sly and the Family Stone. I want to take you higher. We are doing In Excess.
All right. Little Aussie rock.
In Excess. One of my favorite groups from the 80s. We are doing we have this feature on the show called A Bridge Too Far, where I do a song that maybe people would think I went a little over the line. Yeah. So I like to do a lot of like dance music from the 90s. Okay. So we're doing the Real McCoys. Another night, another dream that always food. Talk. I talk to you in your night, in the dream. You know, it's like German Euro trash. And I like that music. Sure. And James Brown, and who the fuck knows what'll happen? I don't plan. There's no plan, Marty. We're just living in the moment. That's all we got these days, it seems. That's right. Crazy times. Well, I hope things work out in the States on Tuesday, because if they don't, man. If they don't, I'm moving in with you in your basement. I'm going to be your gimp in the basement, Marty. I picture it already. It'll be fantastic. We'll feed you from time to time. All right. That's all I can say. All right. Well, fantastic. Hang in there. Hope the best for everybody over there, because I'm going to have to go and visit soon myself. So. All right. Namaste, Marty. Keep in touch. You're the first video interview I've done in New Zealand, so you are a pioneer. I feel like it. You got the good taste. All righty. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Keep in touch. Bye-bye.